because there's a real shift that happens after you physically deliver a child, whether that be natural birth, C-section, or whatever other options there are. Postpartum depression is a real thing. And I always thought of it as wanting to like harm your baby or wanting to do something crazy, but that's not how it showed up for me. For me, it showed up with just this overwhelming guilt and this overwhelming desire to be all the things, and just exhaustion and feeling just not like myself. I just kind of always felt off balance and just unsettled and just off. It's even hard to find the words to articulate that feeling, but it's just like this feeling of who you were before the child is dying, and who you've become is a complete stranger. And there's no way in your mind to be able to reconcile the two. And you don't want to talk about it because it sounds bad and you feel guilty, and a mom is supposed to do A, B, and C, but you are not feeling necessarily fulfilled by that, or you're not feeling energized and motivated to always do that. For me, there was no question of my love for my son. There was no question of my commitment to my son. There was no question of my responsibility. The problem that was happening was I felt completely uncomfortable in my body. I felt completely just uncomfortable in my skin overall. I didn't feel like myself for a very long time and did not know how to express that. And then also had the fear of expressing that because I just didn't know how that would be perceived. And I know that a lot of people deal with that, because when you talk to other new moms, then you hear them telling the same story. And it's just like crazy. So in building my business, it was kind of like a combination of like work. And I don't know if that was me trying to distract from what I was feeling, or if it was just kind of like, it really was a combination of me trying to distract from the negative things that I was feeling about myself, and also so desperately wanting to be present and so desperately wanting to build something so that I could move forward, and so that I'd be able to kind of like save myself, if that makes sense. This thing gets deep, y'all. I know I've had like emotional breakdowns. I felt like a variety of emotions all in like a similar or close spaces of time. And it almost seemed like I was kind of like losing it a little bit. So that also kind of like brought a sense of shame, because it's just like you're having almost like an out-of-body experience, and then you're looking at yourself like, what is going on here? And then people around you that may not understand are also kind of looking at you like, what is your problem? But when you think about what your body goes through to have a child, when you think about what your body goes through when you have a C-section, or even when you just give a natural birth, like, that joint gets real. It gets real. So I don't know what your experience has been like with postpartum depression anxiety, or even just being around people who've had children, but I think that it really helps to kind of check in on people, to offer to help. And I think that if you're the one going through it, it's really helpful to allow people to help you, especially people that you know, love, and care about you, because it's just impossible to do everything on your own if you have just multiple responsibilities piling up. And it's so important to take care of yourself because your child deserves a healthy, happy, balanced, and present parent. Your spouse also deserves a partner. And if you are the spouse of someone that is having or experiencing postpartum depression anxiety, I think that it's really important that you do some homework and research to try to find out what's going on and not just get into this thing where it's just like, oh, she's changed, or oh, she's crazy, or just dismissing it, because there's a real shift that happens after you physically deliver a child, whether that be natural birth, C-section, or whatever other options there are. I don't think there are any others, but yeah. So that's my little tidbit on my experience with postpartum depression and anxiety. I definitely want to talk a little bit more about that in the future. And I also want to bring on some guests and other people who have experienced this so that we can kind of dig a little bit further into it so we can get a little bit more of an in-depth conversation, and so that I can kind of peel back the layers of what was going on with me and what is going on with other women that I know, and see if we can help each other. Because I think it's really important for us to talk about this. It is something that goes on for years at a time, and it really kind of messes people up, and some of us recover from it and some of us don't, unfortunately. So I think it's really important that we kind of open up this conversation because so many people are dealing with this and we need to talk about it. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment below and let me know what you think about this subject. And if you had this experience or you know someone who's had this experience, share this video, hit the like button below, subscribe while you're here, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Wealth, Wellness, and Wholeness, all the tools you'll need to create a life you love. Ciao.